Brandon Benefield, Gerard Bonner, and Diana Michelle.
What's going on, everybody? It's that time of the week. It's Friday. You know what that means. It's time for your favorite podcast, the SHW podcast. This right here is our wrestling.
It is.
I'm B-Double Brandon Benefield alongside the great GB Gerard Bonner and the beautiful Diana Michelle. We are V3, the voices of Southern Honor Wrestling, and we're back. And guys, let me just say this. Last Friday, it felt so good to be back home in the Action Building to kick off our first show of 2025. And yeah, we got moved back about a month, but you know what? It felt good to be home. It felt good to see all of our people. And man, what a show it was. But first of all, how are you guys doing? How's your week going?
It's been a long week. Like always, it feels like forever just to get to Friday. But yo, we are off Monday. It's got a long weekend coming up.
Okay.
So yeah, let's go. Or let's not go. Let's just hang out. Let's just drag it. Let's just drag it out.
This is great. This is great. No, it's good to be back with the team, of course. And to everyone, happy Valentine's Day. It is that day indeed. Oh, Diana.
What was that
It
face?
is Valentine. I don't understand the face.
It is.
It is Valentine's Day. And we want to celebrate. We love
the girls.
all
Happy
of you.
Galentine's Day.
Well, that was yesterday,
yeah,
but be that as it may. Yeah, it was. It was.
Galentine's Day is February 13th.
Correct. That is correct.
That's actually a thing.
It is.
You just said it. How did you not know?
It is. How did you not know?
Because I celebrated on Valentine's Day because
Oh, look, the rebel that you are, of course you would. No, it was yesterday. It is official that it was yesterday. I can send you documentation if you need it.
I need to see that.
Hold, please. So while that's happening, but happy Valentine's Day. We love you, and it's really, really good that we are able to be back as we were. And I know we like starting in January, but it felt like we didn't miss a beat with how action-packed this show was. This show was crazy, and I'm glad we were all together for it. And, of course, it was our 200th episode, which was wild trying to put all of that together. It was just crazy. It was just absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So much fun. Cupcakes and those little noisemakers and all
It was
Listen,
a party. It was a party.
What I have learned is that these two love to party. Okay,
Hey.
they love it, and it was just like, oh yeah,
Just give me a reason. Just give me
we
a
didn't
reason.
even stand up, so you know it was going to be fun.
Oh well, that's for sure. That's for sure.
It was
Yeah,
good times. It was good times. It was great seeing everybody, all the familiar faces that we get to see typically every month, but it's weird skipping a month, and I don't like doing that. But, you know, Mother Nature did not cooperate with us, and so it had to happen. But
And hey, if Mother Nature is what does it, so be it. You know, like we can't control those kinds of things. And it was for everyone's safety, as we remember.
Right.
But Lord knows we made up for it last Friday night. And what you guys just saw was the official documentation sent to Diana. So
Yes, you did.
yeah, I almost wish we
appreciate
could have
that.
pulled it up on the screen, but yeah.
I mean, I was like, let me read this, but you know, we got things to do, so I will put
Yeah.
my
She'll
chat.
read it later.
I don't
but,
even know what the oh, I see it here. Yeah,
Yes,
never mind.
yes,
I was like, what are you talking
yes.
about? On my screen?
Yeah.
Oh, on this screen.
Yeah,
I got
on
it.
that screen. Yeah.
I see it now.
Yeah.
Valentine's
We'll do
Day.
a PowerPoint
The
presentation.
people are sitting here wondering, like, what is going on?
What are they
This is
talking
great,
about?
though.
It's
This is
like
great.
jokes.
Valentine's Day.
It's the personalities of what we do here at this podcast. So
I love it. I tell you what,
Love
though, as we do after every big show, it's time for the recap. And yes,
Oh, yes.
last Friday was not only SHW podcast number 200, meaning this is 201. How in the world? But it was also SHW70, our first show of 2025. And boy, oh boy, did we start the year off on a crazy foot, to say the least. We had some ups, we had some downs, we had some crazy stuff happening out of nowhere, which is usually the case at SHW. You never know what might happen. But starting things out, none other than Blacklist Uno himself, Murder One, starting out the show, coming down and getting the crowd riled up, wearing his Philadelphia Eagles jersey. I like, by the way, since our last show, I'm glad it worked out in his favor. The Eagles,
I'm glad, too. It was rather prophetic, dare I say.
yeah,
Right.
the Eagles would go on to not just like barely win, but to like handily beat the
Yes.
Chiefs in the Super
Yes.
Bowl. But anyway, so Murder One coming out of the ring. We don't normally get to see him by himself grabbing a microphone and addressing the SHW faithful. But what'd you guys think of that? That was a pretty fun way to kick off the show, I thought.
I was much appreciative because I love it when somebody else comes out and tries to help the crowd. It takes the weight off. It's great. But I mean, what is it? I love it. I do. I enjoy murder on the mic. I do.
Murder on the mic.
Murder on the mic, as opposed to murder was the case. Yeah,
That
but
part.
yeah, no, it's a great thing. Murder has a great connection with the people, and little did we know how that would sandwich the night.
Yeah.
Starting with a promo from the hierarchy and ending with a promo from the hierarchy.
Man.
We'll fill in the blanks in a little bit, but yeah, that was certainly a harbinger of things to come.
Absolutely. And of course, we ended up having two big title matches. The Jake the Snake Legacy Championship was defended, as well as Joe Black defending the Southern Honor Championship, which, as GB mentioned, we'll get to that here in just a little bit. But starting things out, Kyle Matthews defended that JTS title against none other than the Endgame's Nick Halen. We said this going into the night, that these are two veterans, two guys that have known each other a very long time, know each other very well, and could potentially be an early contender for match of the year. And they did not disappoint. Of course, Nick Halen being flanked by Todd Sexton, who also ended up having a match later in the night, and we'll get to that against Aaron Dallas. But this was a good one. This was, I think, all that we expected it to be. But in the end, Kyle Matthews walked out of the building still your Jake the Snake Legacy Champion. But Diana, I know what your thoughts were going into the match. What were your thoughts after seeing the match?
I told you so. I mean,
All right.
Short and sweet. The match was great. It delivered on all fronts. It was everything. I did not expect for Todd to reprimand Nick Halen in such a way to say that he would have to take care of taking that out. I mean, come on. That's next month. But yeah. Jake the Snake Legacy title stayed with Kyle. Thank you. Next.
GB?
I love the suspense. I will say this. Certainly, I think the match lived up to the billing, no doubt about it. It's also one of the reasons why we have the match, because what it looks like on paper, even going back to the Super Bowl, on paper it looks like one thing, but when you actually play the game, you never know what's going to happen. I think, Todd Sexton inserting himself with what he said after the match, I understand the level of disappointment. Consider that the end game is used to having gold in their ranks. They started off with gold, the SHW championship, for well over 500 days. Judias was the champion. And, with the title goes the power. And so they were accustomed to being the most powerful faction in the company. They lose the championship. They lose Judias. And it seems like, well, the next best bet is the Jake the Snake Legacy Championship. CT Keys seemed like a lock. That didn't happen. Now you figure the guy who was voted at one time Wrestler of the Year and Technical Wrestler of the Year, he'd do it. He couldn't do it. I think Todd Sexton feels like for the end game to have any sort of clout in this company, they have to have gold. And if he feels like he has to do it himself, that's a lofty statement, I think. But I think we've learned, and we're learning, that we can't put it past him. We can't put it past him. I just don't know what happens inside the end game right now. When you know you have disappointed your leader, and if he pulls off something as a semi-retired wrestler that you couldn't pull off as an active wrestler, what does that do in terms of the chemistry for that relationship? So lots to pay attention to, and a lot of people will be vested in the future of what happens between Kyle Matthews and Todd Sexton.
Yeah, and as you guys mentioned, Todd Sexton saying, he'll have to do it himself. Kyle Matthews, we'll talk about this here in just a little bit, but definitely up for the challenge. Now we just sit back and wait to see if Jake the Snake will make it official, which I don't know why he wouldn't. But I'm thinking we're going to have that to look forward to come
Yeah.
March. But
Mhm.
up next, well, let me just backtrack real quick. You know, we were already disappointed we were going to have to miss January and skip to February. Again, we mentioned the weather, Mother Nature not working out for us. But the one big thing I was super excited about for January was that Gunnar Miller and Matt Griffin were going to be out of town and we weren't going to have to see them. They weren't going to be at the show. And when I found out that we got bumped to February and that they would be there, well, we thought maybe they would be there. And then they showed up, and it just really put a sour taste in everybody's mouth. We had a big, exciting opening with Murder One. We had a great match to kick things off. And then here come these two guys. And Matt Griffin, not sporting the normal, you know, jacket with a t-shirt and jeans, actually dressed to the nines, if I do say
Mhm.
so. I mean, he was coming out in the black suit, claiming that now he's running things here at SHW, apparently, introducing his true GM, that being Gunnar Miller, to the ring. And what kind of shocked me, I was unaware. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but we looked over and Gary Lamb was sitting front row. Gary Lamb had apparently purchased a ticket to the show,
Mhm.
which shocked me. I'm like, wait a second, how did we get here? You know, like we saw Gary get taken out by Gunnar Miller. We didn't see him at the last show. Here he is all of a sudden buying a ticket for his what I thought was his show. And anyways, it got real spicy there for a second when Matt Griffin started talking his talk right in Gary's face. Gary, deciding to be the bigger man, just got up and decided to just not even really getting kind
That
of,
shocked me.
yeah, he didn't
That
get in any
part.
kind of
Mhm.
physical altercation, which I thought might be, especially when Griffin said the thing about Gary's
The
wife.
way.
I was like, oh
Yeah.
man.
Me.
Mhm.
And then, but I mean, security got up. They were ready to separate him. Gary decided just to walk out of the building. Meanwhile, here comes Dylan, the other mastermind behind the scenes, and you know, kind of sticking up for Gary, sticking up for SHW, confronting Matt Griffin, and that's where it all went south. Let's just say that. Gunnar
Mhm.
Miller takes the belt off, lays it to the backside, and I mean, they just went to town, whooping up on Dylan, and then to the point where Gunnar wrapped the belt around his hand with the buckle on
Mhm.
his knuckles, and he actually opened up Dylan. Dylan's pouring blood out of his forehead. I mean, it got kind of gruesome. And anyways, you guys, your thoughts on that whole debacle?
Mm. GB. Go ahead.
I knew what we know how Diana feels because she told us at the Waffle House afterwards she was not happy. None of us were happy. We were all
Mhm.
disgusted by it. But GB,
Yeah, it's scary. We're seeing obviously new depths that Gunnar Miller is sinking to, and I still honestly don't understand the why behind it. I mean, you got what you wanted. You turned on Gary. Gary is now buying tickets to a show that he created. You know, you're calling yourself the promoter now, which that's news to us, you know. So I don't know what the goal is for either Matt Griffin or Gunnar Miller. I don't know what the goal is. I'd love to know what the goal is. And I mean, you got Gary Lamb out of the ring.
yeah,
Gary Lamb's not talking. Gary Lamb's not doing anything. He's on the other side of the guardrail, which he's never been on since the creation of this promotion. So already you've done something that nobody else could do. What more do you want? And I think that's what I mean, Gunner's not even gunning for the championship right now. You know, so if you're not gunning for the championship and you've put Gary Lamb, you know, we've literally seen the silence of the lamb, right? Now, what do we do? What is it that you're after? I'd love to
Right.
know the answer to that.
He's just basking in what he's done. I mean, and I think it's more Matt than anybody else.
Well,
Like I said,
Gunner seems to be quite
we,
dialed into this.
he is, but I think he's more, he's just how they're hanging out with Matt. I mean, Matt said it before that this was a big feud that started a couple years ago, and him and Gary, and you know, blah blah blah, and now he's the one left standing, I guess you would say. Um, I would love to see Gary just come back and have a match against Matt.
Sorry.
Ladies
Sorry.
and gentlemen, Diana Michelle has just advocated for an in-ring match for Gary Lamb.
I want to see it.
What
He's done it
what
before. I mean, why not?
it's Valentine's Day, folks. Yeah, it's
Oh.
Valentine's Day. Okay.
But
Well,
no, the show was going so well. We were having a good
yeah.
time, just running, through the wind and enjoying ourselves. And then we step and poop. They come out and it's like we step and poop, and it's like I can't get the stink off my foot. So I mean, what is going on? I'm sick of it. Honestly, I mean, I'm done. I'm over it. Can we not do it again next month? Just saying.
Well, if he's claiming to be the promoter, which again, like
Yeah.
GB said, it's news to us. It was
Right,
news to the
exactly.
fans. But if I'll have to reach out and see who I can talk to behind the scenes, because I don't really know if he's just talking out of his,
This is one of those things where you can identify as something, so that's what you are, right?
I, I don't know. I don't know.
Wow.
Just saying. I mean, because I want to identify as a millionaire, but it doesn't mean I am one.
Wow. There's a lot happening right now. Wow.
All I know is at the end of the day, the way it
Yeah.
turned out at SHW70 last Friday, it appears that Dylan's blood is now on Gary's hands. And where do we go from here? Only time will tell. Hopefully, we'll get some more answers next month at SHW71. But while we did hit that little skid there in the action, and it kind of put a sour taste in everybody's mouth. Not. I didn't mean it like that, but Diana, Diana had her
what
analogy.
Is happening right
I
now?
was trying to go a different direction,
Sheesh.
but anyways, while Griffin and Gunner were a skid mark on the show, let's get back to the wrestling action. Owen Knight, Grayson Pierce, the young gun. We knew that this was going to be a good one. There's been they've all been embroiled in a bit of a feud along with Jay Lucas, the three of them over the last few months. And this was Owen's turn to get a little payback on Grayson Pierce for that attack from a couple of months back. Great matchup between these two, but it was the appearance of Jay Lucas that would seemingly cost Grayson the match. Actually, I'm not really sure how that was going to play out. It almost looked like Grayson was trying to leave. Like he was just going to head backstage if it weren't for Jay Lucas being at the ramp and then sending him back into the ring. And Owen Knight able to get the win there. But I think it's safe to say, again, we would end up going on to see Jay Lucas later in the night. We'll get to that match. But I think it's safe to say the issues between these three men appear to be far from over.
I enjoyed this match. Y'all know I love Owen. Y'all know I love that he's home.
You
For
do?
however long he's here. I love him.
You? What?
I do. But also, I must say that Grayson Pierce in ring without all the crap and shenanigans, I enjoy his wrestling. I think he's really got a bright future. He's wild. I mean, he's wild in the ring. I like his movesets. I like the way he attacks. I mean, I dig it. I dig what he's doing, but I don't know what
that
his
move,
goals are.
the skull piercer, that double stomp to the back of the head. What a devastating move! He went for it. He couldn't hit it on Owen the other night, but when he does connect with that thing,
Jay.
when he connects with that thing, man, whoo, look out!
Yeah.
GB.
Yeah. No, a great match again. This tangled web that is being weaved between these three is really something. But again, I think we're seeing Grayson Pierce shine in all of this. And so I don't know what his initial impetus was when he came back, what his goals were in terms of betting on him and things of that nature. But we are getting to see him outside of the umbrella of Lev's Faithful. And Grayson Pierce is a problem. He is a real problem. And he held his own against Owen Knight. There were moments where it looked like he was going to defeat Owen Knight. Owen Knight managed to come through, but wasn't happy that Jay Lucas got involved in this match. So this is a really wild story that we're seeing here. And at some point, it's getting back potentially to Owen versus Jay, which is where all of this started several months ago.
Yeah. And like we say about everything else, only time will tell. But like
Only
I said,
time.
I think it's far from over between not just Owen and Jay, but all three of these guys seem to just still
Throw them
be.
all in there together. Let's just do it.
Mhm.
Who knows? We'll see. We'll see. Another big matchup we were excited about was the debut of young Tristan Moody as he came into
Mhm.
SHW to face Hollywood Hunter James, the former Jake the Snake Legacy champion. Question on everybody's mind, though, was where is Tristan Michaels? Where has he been? Will he be there? That answer would be, or that question would be answered during the match as Hunter would come out by himself initially, and then once the matchup got underway, enter Tristan Michaels.
Yeah.
One of the, like the guy or not, I did find it very humorous when the crowd. Let me just back up. It's rare that a newcomer gets a chant from the crowd. Okay, we
Correct.
see it
Correct.
occasionally. We've seen it with Aaron Dallas. We saw it
Hmm.
with Hold My Beer Hansen a while
Hmm.
back. But
Cody
Tristan
Fluffman.
Moody, yeah, Fluffman,
Hmm.
another one, and but Tristan Moody actually getting a Tristan chant from the crowd, but to my amusement, Tristan Michaels hearing it, waving at the crowd. Thank you.
Hmm.
Thank you. Thank you. Clearly, they were not chanting for Tristan Michaels, the guiding light.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
chanting for Tristan Moody. And Moody, you know, he's not brand new to the game. He's brand new to Southern Honor Wrestling.
Hmm.
And a lot of folks weren't quite sure, what kind of matchup he would be for Hunter James. But man, he gave Hunter all he could handle there, and there were a few times where I thought, man, we might see an upset here in Tristan Moody's debut. In the end, it wasn't meant to be. Hunter James finally back on the winning track, but what a showing in his debut matchup for Tristan Moody.
I enjoyed this one. I've never seen Tristan Moody before. Didn't know anything about him. Um, Throughout the match, I could tell that he's got something. He's got something special about him. But I don't know. I guess Hunter was sick of playing around finally, you know, and you know. But Tristan did do that. Was it AJ Styles move where I don't know what they call it when he springboards off of the top rope.
Phenomenal
Phenomenal.
forearm.
But was it a
Hmm.
form or did I don't know what he did, but it looked
Yeah.
good. He did it. It looked good. But yeah, I enjoyed the match. Congratulations, Hunter.
Yeah, if there's one thing I have learned over the last year, it's that when newcomers show up to Southern Honor, they come ready to play. And we've seen a lot of newcomers, first timers inside of an SHW ring, understanding the platform they are on, and they come ready to show up and show out. And Tristan Moody
Right.
absolutely did that last Friday night. It was a joy to watch this match between he and Hunter James. And again, it's the future of our business right in front of us. And the future looks incredibly bright.
Mm-hmm.
Huge showing there for Tristan Moody, who came very close to getting a win over the former Jake the Snake Legacy champion. Hunter James gets the win, and I think what it ultimately proves is Hunter James is far more dangerous with Tristan Michaels than without him, because every time he's been without the guiding light, he's not pulled off a victory. So it'll be
This
interesting to
is
see what
true.
happens with those two moving forward.
Absolutely. Going on down the card here, another one we were very excited to see the return of the suplex assassin, the forever MLW world champion,
Mhm.
Alex Kane, returning to the action building, this time facing off with Joey Hyder. Joey Hyder making his singles match debut after we saw him back at Still Here last year, competing in that gauntlet match where he looked highly impressive. What a match this was. I will say this to Joey Hyder's credit. He was not victorious. However, I think he gave Alex Kane a little more than he bargained for and a
Mm-hmm.
little more than the fans were expecting as well. I'm not saying Kane was going into it taking him lightly by any means, but I think he was a little shocked. We were all a little shocked at what a matchup it was between these two. And then, of course, we went into it knowing what happened with the confrontation at the last show between Alex Kane and CT Keys. CT Keys turns out not in the building the other night. And then it was after the match where we're thinking, oh, he's grabbing the microphone. He's going to call out CT Keys. But no, he wants
Mhm.
gold. He's a former world champion. He's a forever MLW world champion.
Mhm.
And because of that, he thinks, and I can't say I disagree, that he should get a shot anywhere he goes at the top
Mhm.
spot. And we'll see what happens, but I think he's after Joe Black's SHW championship, it would appear. So take that how you want to take it. But what'd you
I'm
guys think?
here for it. I'm here for that match. Totally.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
Considering Hyder, no, he did not come away with a win, but I think anytime someone, especially new to Southern Honor, performs that well against someone like Alex Kane, they have to take that as a W,
Yeah.
regardless if their hand was raised at the end of the match. That was a good performance. He really he brought it.
Mm-hmm.
He brought
Mm-hmm.
it to Alex, and I mean, I was kind of worried. I was like, Alex is on the ground a lot. What's up? You know. But at the end, suplex assassin, victorious, and yes, I'm here for whatever. I'm here for whatever Alex is wanting to do, whoever he's wanting to face. I think it'd be great either way.
You know, this is such an incredible era. First of all, shout out to your American hero, Joey Hyder, who impressed us tremendously. I mean, you look at him and you would not know that he has been in the business for barely 3 years. You
Right.
know, he has just done so much, and incredible showing for Joey Hyder. Alex Kane is just on a different level. I mean, number 25 on this year's PWI 500, the top ranked independent wrestler in the world. He's a former world champion, multiple time champion over in MLW. And so you start asking yourself a question. Should this guy get a title shot so soon into his tenure in SHW? You know, there are people who would say, hey, you've got to work your way up there. You got to do certain. Listen, when LeBron shows up, you're not spending a lot of time putting him through paces. LeBron doesn't have to work on the practice league before he starts. LeBron doesn't have to go to the D League and play on the farm team. He's LeBron James. You put him in the starting position, and you put him in for as many minutes as he can play. That's what you do. This is not just, a guy who has social media hype. Okay, we know who Alex Kane is. We know what Alex Kane can do. He's been a champion everywhere he goes. Why wait? So when he calls his shot, yeah, I'm not mad at this at all. I'd like to see it happen, though I know there seems to be a line for the SHW championship, and I get it. We're all here for it. But if there's anybody who can jump the line, it's the suplex assassin. Look at his resume and look at what he's done in SHW. He's already taken out 2 competitors. And yeah, I'm not the matchmaker, but if I were, it's a dream match anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Sign me up for it.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
And I mean, there are people coming out that haven't been around in years that are coming back looking for a title shot. So we'll get to that
right.
here in just a few minutes. But yeah, to your point, I mean, people are coming out from everywhere trying to get a shot at Joe Black.
They're coming to America. Tell you. Great.
Moving down the card, we got this great tag team matchup: the Skulk versus Top Team. Talk about fast-paced, high-flying. I mean, they came in here and upped it a notch because we were just kind of cruising through the night. All the matches were great up to that point, and then it was like bam, 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 bam. Like, whoa, these guys were on another level. I mean, they were out of control. It was hard to keep up with the action, GB. It was a wild matchup. But the Skulk, Adrian Alanis, Liam Gray taking on Top Team, Jay Lucas and Teriyaki. Great to see all 4 of these guys in a Southern Honor ring. And man, oh man, did they put on a show for the Southern Honor faithful.
Did I say something bad about the Skulk on the pre-show? I don't think I did, because I don't know them. But they came after me and Paul at the beginning of the show. What in the world?
Oh, I was like, wait, what happened? What did I miss?
That was so rude. I'm like, dude, I don't even know you. Why are you being ugly?
No.
I'm just trying to announce you. I did a good job.
They weren't making any friends in the action bit, not just you guys, but even in the crowd. During Top Team's entrance, if you watch, I don't know if it's going to be on the video or not, if you can see it, but they were going around just jawing at the entire crowd ringside.
And then they took my chair and Zach's chair and wouldn't get up. I had to push Adrian out of my chair.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, get up. Anyway,
Get up.
get up. Shut up.
Sorry. It's
You
just,
you
yeah.
know when I get feisty, it comes out.
I know.
But yeah, I enjoyed the match, but I did not enjoy their attitude. So
Yeah.
top team all the way.
Well,
Don't start. I
uh,
won't be
It,
none.
it didn't turn out
well,
top team's way, but I get what you're saying. Yeah.
now,
Right.
now you may have just qualified for them to give you trouble should they return because
Bring it
Yeah.
they're
because
going
I'm
to be
ready
looking.
now. I wasn't expecting it then, but I'm ready for it now. Don't play. I ain't playing now.
This was a fantastic tag team match. I have to tell you, two teams who are obviously jockeying for position for an opportunity at the SHW Tag
Yeah.
Team Championship. And this is honestly what the infantry wanted. They wanted to provide a shot in the arm in the tag team division at Southern Honor. And they knew, and this is why Carly Bravo wanted to go after that championship after winning the Rumble Jack last year, because he felt like he could bring the kind of attention to this tag team division that no one else can do. And he has done that. He and, of course, the captain, Sean Dean, they've done that. And
Yes.
now we've got, I mean, think about the match we saw. All of the talk, of course, we're just off the heels of the Georgia Wrestling History Awards. We can already start talking about match of the year contenders, and we had several on this card alone.
Mm-hmm.
This match right here was special. And I think it was special because there weren't titles involved. It was
Right.
two teams looking to prove themselves on this stage. The first time that either of those two teams had been on this stage, and they left it all in the ring. I would love, every year, Naja does his best of 7. Give me a best of 7 of this. Like, I would love every bit of it.
Ooh.
I don't know how it would go. I think it would go all 7 matches. These two teams are phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever won would give the infantry a hard time. The Skulk winning, oh, this is going to be something very, very special. What a match. If you haven't seen it, when it hits IWTV, go back and watch it because it's special. It's absolutely special.
Honestly, check out the teams that have come through since the infantry's been champions. The Skulk top team and putting Offside Heroes in there together. Man, what a division! Ooh.
Man, oh man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, with the Skulk winning that matchup, they went into it. As we mentioned, we were supposed to have that January show, and they were going to get that shot at the infantry due to the open challenge. Well, with the infantry not being available last weekend, well, it became a matchup between the Skulk and Top Team stepped in, and it kind of made us wonder. It almost became, Sal even said it on commentary. Sal was able to join us about midway through the show, and it almost became like a number one contenders match, basically.
For sure.
Because if Top Team would knock off the Skulk, why wouldn't Top Team get that shot at the titles? So
Right.
Skulk ended up with the win. They will get that shot at the infantry at some point. It hasn't been announced when that will happen. Hopefully sooner rather than later, but we will see. But moving on down the card, we talked about Todd Sexton earlier in the night, accompanying Nick Halen to ringside for Nick's match. Well, now Todd had his singles match against everybody's favorite Ron Dallas, and Sal just loves it when I spell it out like that. What did you guys think of this one? Aaron Dallas holding his own here. Unfortunately, the numbers game would come into play, but Aaron Dallas still over like Rover in the action building.
I'm a fan, man. I'm a fan of the blue collar rock star. I am. I mean, we know what Todd can do. We know he's been around for ages and he's very well seasoned, but I mean, Aaron didn't hold no punches. He wasn't lacking. He could have very well come away with the win for that. I mean, I don't know what Sal's beef is with him.
Well, Aaron beat Sal.
Well, I
last
know.
year, and so ever
That's
since
what I
then,
was saying.
it's just so funny to me. Like it's interesting whenever he has a match and Sal's on commentary because
He just happens to show up right as this match is beginning.
right, yeah, and then
so
Sal
funny.
just immediately just throws him under the bus. I'm like, oh, come on, man. But
Like-
anyway,
Take a drink, whatever. But yeah, it was a great match.
I will say this. I think Aaron Dallas does have a problem. And
Yeah.
I think his problem is this: you have to read the room. You cannot keep going into these battles with the end game unarmed. You can't do it. Every time he's fought the end game, he's been outnumbered. And every time he's done that, it's resulted in an L. He's got to know, I got to get some friends if I'm going to battle the end game, because the end game is never coming alone. If he had had one person in his corner, he would have had a much better shot, because they would have at least neutralized Nick Halen, and he could have had a shot. Again, taking nothing away from Todd Sexton, who, 20 plus year veteran. Sexton's probably forgotten more than Aaron Dallas remembers.
Yeah.
But you would have given yourself a better opportunity. So the next time you're fighting the end game, and I'm sure you'll want to fight at least one member, get you somebody that can be outside of the ring. Kyle Matthews obviously had a title defense earlier that night. So you need another friend. Make friends with somebody, get them out there so that you at least have a fighting chance in this space. One of the reasons he was successful against Sal is because Sal didn't have anybody on the outside of the ring with the numbers game. So it gave you a chance. You don't really get a chance when you're fighting an uphill battle like this. And, but maybe that's the youthful experience, thinking I'm just going to go out there and we're going to have a one-on-one contest. Not when your opponent is anyone from the end game. And you knew if Todd Sexton was putting himself in a match that it wasn't going to be a fair fight. You knew
Of course
that.
not.
Yeah. Of course, it would end up being Kyle Matthews after the match when the beatdown was being laid upon Aaron Dallas by the end game. Matthews would make the save and then accept the challenge from Todd Sexton. And again, as I mentioned before, we'll see. Time will tell if Jake the Snake will make that match official for the JTS Legacy Championship match at SHW71. I don't see why he wouldn't make it official, but we got to do all the paperwork and all that stuff. So we'll see. But moving down to our main events, the highly anticipated matchup, Joe Black defending the Southern Honor Championship against the number one contender, Alexander Lev. Earlier in the night, kicking the show off, Murder One came out to hype the crowd. But not only that, he said that during the main event, he, along with the Kenway, would stay backstage. Joe would be on his own, and he challenged Lev to show up on his own. No outside help, making an official one-on-one matchup. So we were about to see if that was going to happen or not. But before Lev could even come to the ring, we saw a video from someone we have not seen in quite some time. That being SHW's savior, David Ali, who had a challenge for the Messiah, Alexander Lev. Someone who he thinks is maybe kind of infringed on his gimmick a little bit, perhaps. And this was he was throwing the challenge out whether or not Lev defeated Joe or not. He wanted a piece of Lev. And then he even wished Joe luck in the matchup. So we'll see where that goes between David Ali and Alexander Lev, if we're going to see a confrontation there or not. It sounds like Ali's going to show up next month, and we'll see what happens. But on to the main event, Lev versus Joe Black. What did you guys think? I mean, this did not go the way a lot of people saw it going. A lot of people saw it going, Joe Black's going to come in here and just dominate Alexander Lev. And I would say he was on his way to doing that had it not been for the guardrail colliding with the forehead of Joe Black. And after that, it was a turning point in the match. And I'll let you guys take it from there. But your thoughts on this one?
That shocked me because I felt like I missed something. I felt like somebody had used a weapon or something and just knocked him out, because we've seen this man go crazy in a dog collar match.
Yeah.
He put Joe through the windshield of a car. I mean, he's what did I say? Joe put Huck through the windshield of a car. Yeah. We've seen him spear Huck through the door of a car, bending that door backwards. It's crazy what he can do. So I'm thinking, yeah, your card.
But I can't catch a break, man.
I felt like I missed something when the whole guardrail thing, because it was on the other side of the ring. So I was like, what's going on over there? And then, I was shocked. I was completely shocked. But it gave Lev an opportunity to do what he does. And we haven't always seen him be able to do that, right? He doesn't always get the opening for that. But yeah, I was shocked at the performance of Lev and the way how ruthless he is. Because he really is. pretty bad. But yeah, no contest there, and goodness, then the heat, all the heat.
Yeah, I've been saying it here for weeks that there was something special on this match. There was something special in the atmosphere. There was something special in the air. You could feel it that this was going to be that kind of night. And Lev felt it. You could tell when he came in the ring. And Lev, who normally goes everywhere flanked by someone, was clearly very confident. He came with no one. He did not solicit help. He believed in himself. And he did something that most aren't able to do. He went over 25 minutes
He did.
with the champion. Nobody saw that coming. Talk about maximizing your moment. That's what Alexander Lev did. And he took advantage of that guardrail moment. And I feel like had he had more big match experience, there could have been some moments in that match that he would have capitalized on and jumped on. And we'd be talking about a brand new SHW champion right now. With that said, bold prediction. It's not going to be long before we talk about Alexander Lev as the SHW champion. Barring injury or some other major signing, Alexander Lev is a future Southern Honor champion. Clip it, post it. I said it. This guy is special. What he has done in just a handful of years is the making of a true star. And here's the equally scary part. It is very clear that the SHW faithful loves Joe Black.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt about that. But that night, the crowd was as loud for Lev as we've ever heard them. But people began to really believe in this guy. And that makes this something very, very special. So, yeah, it may take a year, it may take a couple of years, but I will not be surprised for one day to see Alexander Lev as your SHW champion. That day was not last Friday, though, as Joe Black powered through, weathered the storm, retained the championship, and didn't get to bask in that long at all.
Not so much. Yeah, what was so crazy was Lev had the upper hand for so much of that last half of the match, and then Joe pulls out the crossface into the rings of Saturn. And the thing is, Lev didn't even tap out. Lev passed out. Lev did not give up, but he passed out. Joe would retain the title, and Joe even said after the matchup, him and Lev are not done. He respects Lev, and he knows Lev did not give up. He passed out. It was what happened after the matchup, though, that shocked everybody and sent shockwaves all throughout Georgia, really, with the return of the Chief, Austin Towers, the over 7-footer, returning after it's been at least a couple of years, right?
Yeah, it has been.
Yeah, it's been a minute since he stepped foot in the action building, but his sights clearly set on Joe Black. He went through Kenway at ringside. He ended up taking out Joe Black, and it wasn't until Murder One showed up with that kendo stick when Towers bailed out of the ring.
Yeah,
I believe Joe, even in the promo that he cut after the show, he cut a couple of promos after the show. One of them was showing respect to Lev. He also mentioned Towers. A lot of things to say about Towers, which I will not repeat. But I don't want to step in any of that. But it was basically him saying that Joe or the Towers doesn't get to just show up and cut to the front of the line. So he said if Towers can beat Kenway in March, then perhaps he'll get a shot at Joe Black in the Southern Honor Championship. So we'll see how that plays out. But then it was after that when a fan, can we even call him a fan? He didn't seem like he was a fan of Joe Black, that's for sure. But some kid in the crowd said something that none of us heard, but Joe Black clearly heard. And boy, oh boy, did he go off. And I mean go off. And you want to talk about a promo of the year, an impromptu promo of the year, an unscheduled, unplanned promo of the year. Man, oh man, he burned this kid to pieces. The crowd was all over the kid. Security got involved at one point. No physicality, but it came close. And what a way to cap off the night. The return of SHW in 2025 with SHW70. That was one for the books, y'all. Any final thoughts before we wrap up here? I know we got to go, but Joe Black closing us out with that promo in the ring to close out the show.
I've been begging for it forever. Give me some Joe Black promos, and I got my feel. Actually, I want more, but I got a good feel that night. I can't wait for it to come out. I hope all that's on film because I want to watch that junk. I want that kid. I want somebody to take that clip and just send it to that kid 100 times a day until he learns his lesson. Keep your mouth shut. Don't start none, won't be none. And he started too much. Lord.
Yeah, last weekend was a great lesson, and I don't know if people really paid attention to it. And it happened all weekend long. At some point, we're going to learn to leave the quiet ones alone.
Thank you.
Okay? Has Drake not taught you anything, people? Has he not taught you anything? Kendrick was chilling, relaxing, not bothering. You kept poking the bear, and you unleashed havoc. I don't know who this young kid is. Don't think that you can just say what you want and it goes unpunished. Okay? Nobody's going to stop Joe Black. Joe Black's not scared of anybody.
Mm-mm.
And so be clear. I'm sure you won't mess around and try that again. Or you'll realize very quickly that neither you nor your friends, they not like us. Okay? So please,
I don't
sir.
think he had any friends left. They hung out and they were like taking pictures with
I
Joe
wouldn't
afterwards.
call myself his friend after that.
No, they were
He
like
got
high-fiving Joe,
eviscerated.
getting pictures made with him. They were like, yeah, man, and that
Listen.
dude was gone.
Listen.
Don't play.
I don't know what on earth, but here's what I do know for the record. Whatever you said, and I do know that it started right before the guardrail thing.
Mhm.
This guy's been antagonizing Joe the whole night.
Mhm.
So, Joe has thick skin. Obviously, the fans are going to say what they want, but there's a point when you cross the line.
Mhm.
And for him to have gone as far as he did, it's because clearly the line had been crossed. So, fans, just be careful.
Mhm.
Be careful. Because that's not smoke you really want.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Don't start nothing. Won't be
be
nothing.
Listen, I'm telling you. You got burned.
Yeah.
I mean,
God, I hope somebody's put
fire.
that out.
It's coming. I mean, I love Larry's review. Y'all go back and read Larry's review because that
Man.
was so good to me.
They just need, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
Absolutely.
play.
You know what we need? We need the champ on the show at some point. We're going to work on that.
That'd be
Get him
great.
on the podcast.
Maybe he can tell us what the fan said.
Perhaps.
If perhaps.
If it's arable. I don't know
If it is.
I
That's
don't know.
the other question.
I'll get my censor button ready just in case.
Mhm.
But
Mm-hmm.
well, that does it for the wrap-up show, guys. SHW70, so glad to be back. 2025, kicking it off on the right foot here. Big, major show. And SHW71 looks to be just as big, if not even bigger. So time will tell. We'll, over the next couple of weeks, start seeing the match announcements and get ready for that show. And yeah, but we'll be right back here on the podcast next week. But until then,
Wait. I got one real quick thing. We didn't get to do it last week, but I want to send our well wishes out to an SHW original, Danny Jordan,
Yes.
who has officially retired from the wrestling business. She certainly has been the flagship for the women's division for years at Southern Honor, a 4-time Women's Wrestler of the Year. And we just wanted to share our well wishes
Yes.
with her on the next chapter of her life and career. Thank you for all that you've given to the
Yes.
wrestling business and to Southern Honor Wrestling specifically. We would certainly not be where we are today without you. So all of our love and well wishes out to Danny Jordan.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. And I know that Danny and I didn't always get along, but deep down, she knows I love her. Danny, I love you, girl. And GB couldn't have said it any better. We wish
Absolutely.
you well. And
Love her.
yeah, we will see.
I don't wear pink much, but when I do, I always think about her.
There you
And
go.
it's always on Wednesdays.
Yeah, and it's not goodbye. It's we'll see you later. Obviously, not in the wrestling capacity.
Absolutely.
We'll see you around, and we can't wait. But good luck in all of your future plans, and we'll see you down the road. But hey, on that note, this has been
SHW.
This is our wrestler.